Hello, my name is Caitlin Tripp, and today I'll be talking about the cultural and spiritual beliefs in different religions and how they care for the ill and their post-mortem rituals. So first I'm going to talk about why this is important. So understanding these cultural and spiritual influences, it's crucial for providing sensitive care to terminally ill patients, their families, and for providing appropriate post-mortem rituals. And this is important for healthcare providers to engage in communication and collaborate with spiritual care teams or families when necessary, so that patients and their families feel respected and can care for each other appropriately. And it just helps to build trust, comfort, and personal connection. So the first religion that I'm going to talk about is Christianity. So in caring for patients, hospice patients typically have a chaplain assigned to their spiritual care, or they may wish to be visited by a member of the clergy from their own church. Their spiritual and emotional support is also given to them. Their view of death, it's viewed where the eternal spirit leaves the physical body for the afterlife. Life is a sacred gift from God, and they believe in a natural death. They believe in life everlasting with God. At the end of their life, patients may wish to have prayers said at the bedside, and they may take Holy Communion. And after the patient passes, bodies are treated with respect, and they may be buried or cremated in their wishes or the family's wishes. And each denomination has its own funeral traditions, but most have hymns, eulogies, and scripture. All right, next I'm going to talk about Judaism. So in caring for patients, mitzvah is a commandment from God that must be performed as religious duty. Birker Kolim, I think that's how you say that, is the mitzvah to care for the sick and dying and to ease their passage from earth to heaven. Birker Kolim volunteers make visits to support the ill and their families, and they place very high value of caring for their elders, and this may be done in a home or the hospital or a facility. Their view on death is that life is precious and death is just part of the continuum of life. They believe in life after death, and in the future, all Jewish people will come together, including the resurrection of those who have passed, and they'll reunite their body with the immortal soul. At the end of a patient's life, they will recite a prayer that means redemption of the soul to relieve suffering and distress. And some may do a confessional prayer to confess sins and regret and ask for forgiveness. Once the patient dies, the body is never left alone, and many believe the soul is still present after death. The staff do not wash the body of the patient. They're buried whole. The funeral is performed as soon as possible after death, usually within 1 day. And afterwards, they usually have a gathering at the family's home, which begins Shiva. And this is 7 days where mourners, most likely people in the family, stay home and receive condolences. And 30 days are left for mourning, and they will refrain from activities such as like going out, doing makeup, looking in the mirror, things like that. They will just use that to mourn and sit on the ground usually. All right, now I'm going to talk about beliefs in Islam. So as for caring for patients in serious illness, they are patient and faithful, and they ask for Allah's help and prayer. The family may give to charity and hope that healing and recovery may occur. Their view of death is that Muslims usually aim to live life to complete submission to God, known as Allah, and practitioners of this faith believe there will be a day of judgment and life after death known as Akira. When terminally ill, Muslims may withdraw or withhold life-sustaining treatments just to allow for a natural death. At the end of one's life, they participate in the 5 pillars of Islam, and this includes faith, prayer, almsgiving, fasting, and pilgrimage. They follow rules regarding diet and prayer, and they do ceremonial washing called wudu, and if they're too ill, they'll touch sand or stone. Usually men are treated by male healthcare workers and women are treated with women healthcare workers. And after death, deceased is usually washed by the family, men by men, women by women, before being wrapped in a white cloth. They have formal funerals with a burial positioning the body facing Mecca, and the graves are marked with a flat marker. They don't use elaborate tombstones or floral displays. It's very just simplistic. All right, lastly, I'm going to talk about Hinduism. And for the care, they usually have dietary restrictions, cleansing rituals, and modesty, and women provide care for women. The family may visit in large groups and bring clothes and coins for the patient to touch before giving them away to the poor, and this symbolizes the deceased person's generosity. Their view on death is that they believe in a soul called Atman and one's true self. They believe in reincarnation, where the soul is reborn in a new body after death. And they believe that illnesses have a biological, psychological, and spiritual aspect. They are accepting of natural death, and they're less interested in prolonging life because they believe in reincarnation. At the end of one's life, a Hindu priest may visit to pray with the family and the patient just to help the soul transmigrate into its next body. They may place sacred thread tied around their neck or the wrist, and holy water is sprinkled over them. And they often place the patient on the floor to symbolize closeness to Mother Earth. And after death, the close family members will wash the body or bring the body home from the facility or hospital for burial prep. And Hindus usually tend to favor cremation, and they'll remain with the body until the cremation occurs. And this is usually within 24 hours of the person passing. So as for my final thoughts, these are just a few of many different religions surrounding care for terminally ill patients and beliefs in dying and post-mortem practices. It's really important for us to understand more religions and their beliefs in healthcare and caring for their loved ones, especially for those of us going into the healthcare system in the future. It's always good to think about these practices and how they influence people's lives. They can help families navigate the emotional and existential challenges associated with death. Spiritual practices can contribute to a sense of closure for most people, and religion and spirituality offer a framework for finding comfort and support and meaning during the challenging times associated with illness and death, and that's why this is super important. And yeah, that is my presentation. Thank you for watching.